Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3 HR Advisors and sponsored by Paychex, one of the leading providers of HR, payroll, retirement, and software solutions for businesses of all sizes. My name is Steve Boese. Gen Z workers skip lunch twice as often as their boomer colleagues. Despite the enduring stereotype that Gen Z workers are the laziest, least committed workers, those who would rather put their feet up than clock overtime hours, it's actually the eldest workers who most consistently take a midday lunch break. Almost half of Gen Z workers skip lunch twice or more per week, despite saying it's the best part of their workday, and they're 4 times as likely as boomers to feel guilty about those few and far between lunch breaks. In comparison, just 18% of boomers skip lunch twice or more per week, the least of any age group. Millennials and Gen X fall in the middle at 38% and 27% respectively. Those figures come from corporate catering technology firm Easy Cater's third annual lunch report released recently, which assessed the lunch habits of 5,000 workers. Even though pretty much all employees know how crucial a lunch break is for their productivity, half of them admit to routinely skipping lunch at least once a week, even when they don't want to. Workers told Easy Cater that they're concerned they won't get all their work done if they step away from their desk. Some say their calendars are too full of meetings to carve out time for lunch, and others would simply rather finish work and head for the door early than take a break at noon. What's more, even when Gen Z workers do block out time on their calendar each day to grab a bite to eat, they often end up working right through the block, or attending a meeting that a superior put in that window without much consideration. Then there's the actual cost of lunch to consider and some lingering pandemic-era habits. Perhaps the divide between older workers who more consistently break for lunch and newer workforce entrants who often skip lunch stems from the pandemic, as so many modern workplace trends do. When everyone was working remotely, it was normal and pretty standard to simply walk to the kitchen and prepare a lunch and then eat it back at your desk. Now back in offices, the whole lunchtime is more complicated, and for the youngest workers whose introduction to corporate life coincided with the pandemic, the shift is proving difficult to execute. And that's where the boss comes in. It's critical for leadership to encourage workers of all ages to unplug for at least some time during the day so they don't get overworked and potentially burned out. And then there's also the impact of inflation to consider. Nearly 4 in 5 employees surveyed said that rising costs have thrown a wrench into their lunchtime habits. Nearly a third say they've been purchasing fewer meals as a result. Now, this could be an opportunity for more employers to step up by offering free lunches. Nearly 60% of hybrid workers say an employee-sponsored lunch would encourage them to come in more often. Meanwhile, nearly 70% of millennials and 60% of Gen Z would be willing to show up in the office for 3 or more days per week if free lunch was provided. Providing lunch to employees not only prevents them from skipping meals and potentially burning out, but it also has a sizable impact on their finances, according to the report. Whether companies subsidize some or all of the food cost, it's a workplace perk that will pay dividends in increased employee productivity and loyalty, and that could lead to a win-win for everyone. We will continue to follow all the important topics and trends in the world of work here on the HR Happy Hour Media Network. That's it for the Workplace Minute, powered by H3 HR Advisors.